Hello and welcome to Best Bets. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined as always by Newsday's NFL pick columnist Joe Manniello. Joe, how's it going?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good. A tough week for you last week on here anyway, at least 1-5 to bring you to 47, 46, and 4. And a rare good week for me, 5-1, 48, 48, 47, and 2. So it's going to be a tight race here to the end, it looks like.
Oh, did you pass me in the standings? Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, one good week, that's all it takes sometimes.
Oh, one good week and one bad week.
that certainly helps a lot.
Oh, wow. All right, here we go.
Yep, so tight race to the end here. We have a lot of tight games to pick from with some playoff implications, including both the New York locals. The Giants play at 1, so we'll start there. They're taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Giants are 5.5-point favorites here. Who do you like?
I'm taking the Giants. They don't blow teams out, so I'm not like super confident that this is going to be, they'll definitely cover the spread, but I just don't have any faith in the Colts here. They've lost 5 in a row. They won that first game just Saturday coaching against Vegas, but they've lost 5 straight. They were competitive in some games. They had that 33-0 lead at Minnesota that they blew. The last week against the Chargers Monday night, Nick Foles threw 3 picks. They had 3 points. I just don't see any point in taking them here. They're done. I don't see them being up for this game. Giants have everything to play for. They'll probably still get into the playoffs even if they lost, but why not just take care of business here? Brian Dable, he's like the face of take care of business. Yep. Like I feel like team is totally bought into his philosophy, and I don't think they're going to mess up this opportunity here. So they take care of business at home. 2013, something like that. 23-13. The Giants, lead all game. Maybe similar to that Texans game earlier in the year. They won 24-16. I don't think they're going to blow the Colts out, but I think they win this game and clinch a playoff spot, which is just incredible for the Giants. So I'll lay the 5.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. We talked about it, I believe, last week going into the game against the Chargers, where we both kind of just felt like the Colts are just done after that brutal loss to the Minnesota Vikings. And the Giants, what a story they've been this year. They have a chance to clinch the playoffs. And sure, as you mentioned, they could get some help and get in anyway. But with how well coached they've been all year long, it kind of just feels like they're going to take care of business on their own. The number being at 5.5 is slightly concerning, but I really don't think it's going to be that close of a game. I don't know if the Colts are scoring more than like 10 or 13 points. And I think if the Giants get to 20, they should cover this number. I think their offense is good enough to do that. So I'll say something like 20-10, maybe. I really have no faith at all right now in the Colts. They're kind of just, going through the motions here in the final weeks, setting up and trying to improve their draft stock, where the Giants, they have something to play for. And I think it'd be nice for them to clinch a playoff spot on their home field. I think they come out to play and win this one pretty easily by about 7 to 10 points, somewhere around that. So
I forgot to mention they're also 4-0 against the AFC, 3-0 against the AFC South, and I think that has a lot to do with Dable and Mike Martindale being AFC guys most of their careers. I think that also plays into it. So they'll be well prepared.
There you go. Another good thing to note there. As for the New York Jets, they play in the 4:00 slate. They're going out on the road to Seattle, still somehow alive at 7-8 and after a really bad Jaguars performance. But Mike White is coming back this week. Jets are slight favorites, 1.5-point favorites here. Who do you like, Joe?
It's amazing. Both of these teams were 6-3, and now they're 7-8. So they both kind of had similar seasons. No one expects them to do anything, but they're both in the playoff picture. I like the Jets here. I kind of knew last week that I shouldn't have picked them because I think Zach Wilson is awful, but I felt the defense could win that game, and it was just an awful game, and they should have won the Lions game. So it's amazing how they still have a shot here. They kind of have a really clear path, beat Seattle and beat Miami, and they're basically in, because I don't see the Patriots beating the Bills next week, even if they beat the Dolphins this week. So everything's there for the Jets. Mike White's back. You see, the offense is has such more rhythm with him in there, and they just need to convert in the red zone. The Seahawks defense is not good, and they're in free fall mode here, and it'll be a close game. The Jets don't blow anyone out either. It's gonna be a tough road. Seattle's a tough place to play, but Mike White, he just can't take any hits, because if he goes, can't get Joe Flacco in there. So not too much analysis on this one. I think the Jets are just the better team. I think this is their chance. They've had so many chances here, and it's like really a roller coaster ride. And I think this is the final push here to get to the playoffs. I think they win this game. Mike White is the big difference maker, and I think they win something like 27-20, 24-20, something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you here also taking the Jets. I think we've seen it. The offense just looks completely different with Mike White in there. He started 3 games, had to leave the Buffalo game twice, but if you look at the 2 games before that, they had over 450 yards of offense in both those games. And Seattle, their defense has really struggled. Now, the Jets' run game has struggled the last few weeks, but I think with Mike White coming back and his, the potential threat of them throwing the ball should back the defense off a little bit. And the Seattle is they are brutally bad against the run. It's the 31st in rushing yards allowed, 29th in touchdowns, 25th in yards per attempt. So I think we see Bam Knight and Michael Carter perform a little bit better, even with banged up Jets offensive line. And I keep hearing the revenge story for Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, but what about Robert Saleh, who coached there, and Dwayne Brown and DJ Reed? So I think it's kind of a wash. And the Jets are still alive somehow. They have a lot to play for in this one. Not that Seattle doesn't. They have a lot to play for too. But you mentioned it. They're in a free fall. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. I think the Jets get it done 24-17.
All right.
How about game of the week? Looking at the Bills versus the Bengals. This should be a good one. Bills slight favorites, -1.5. What's the feel?
Yeah, it's the Monday night game. I think this has potential to be the game of the year. I think we could actually see this game again in the playoffs. So it's a huge game because whoever wins might host that game if the Chiefs get the 1 seed. So I could totally see these teams playing again. To me, it's a toss-up game. These 2 of the NFL's top 5 teams. I think the spread might be a little wrong here. I think the Bengals should be favored. They're home. They're a cover machine. The NFL best 12-3 against the spread. And if you go back to last year, they've covered 16 of the last 19 games. If they were 4-0 in the playoffs, obviously. And the way they're playing, I feel like they don't get enough respect. Everyone talks about the Chiefs and the Bills and the Eagles, and then you got Joe Burrow and the Bengals just winning week after week. They won 7 in a row, all covers. And it's going to be a tough game, but I don't know if the Bills secondary can keep up with Jamar Chase, and it's going to be a close game. You can go either way. I think it's going to be a great game. I'll try to watch every play Monday night, and I'm just going with the Bengals at home. I think them getting points here, I think they can feed off of that. Why are we underdogs at home? And the Bills, I don't know. The Bills to me, obviously a great team, but they're not dominant. They were down 10-6 against the Bears, and then they blew them out in the second half. But they let the Jets hang around. Mike White didn't get his ribs fractured in that game. The Jets could have swept them. So I don't think the Bills are. I don't think any team's really dominant this year, except for maybe the Eagles when they're really clicking. So I think this is the Bengals can win this game. They did lose their starting left tackle last week, which is concerning. But I think it was left tackle. But I still think they'll get it done at home. They just find ways to win these games. They beat the Chiefs this year, last year in the playoffs, and last year late in the season. So they can definitely hang with the Bills. And I like Burrow to figure out a way how to win a close game, a high scoring game, maybe like 34-31, something like that.
All right, there you go. I'm going to take the Bills here, -1.5. I think it's going to be a great game, though, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Cincinnati Bengals end up coming out and winning this game. As you mentioned, they're the home team, and they've been red hot after starting the year 4-4. They've gone on an incredible run here after the back-to-back losses and almost losing to the New York Jets a couple of weeks ago. I think the Buffalo Bills have played, really nice football against the Dolphins and then come back offensively against the Bears. They started slow but hit their groove. Cincinnati kind of let New England hang around in that game. It looked like initially they were going to come out and blow them out, and it ended up being a 22-18 final, and it took a fumble at the end to keep that one a victory for Cincinnati. I just think that against a really good defense in the Buffalo Bills, that it's going to be maybe a little bit of a slow start for the Bengals. In some of I'm looking at their scores the last few weeks. They put up 22, 34, which is a nice number, but then 23, 27, 20. I think they're going to score somewhere in the low 20s. I think Buffalo on that defense is going to be able to put up a little bit more. I'll say a tight game back and forth, 27-24 Buffalo. Wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals pull off the win here and keep their streak alive, but I think Buffalo is the better team. I think they get it done. They're playing for the 1 seed also. They got to keep pace with Kansas City. It's going to be a tight one, but I'm going to lean with the Buffalo Bills and ride with them in this one. So
okay.
Let's roll there. And as for a best bet, what's one that really jumps out?
All right. Well, anyone listening to this and wants to make money, just go against whatever I say here because I'm on an unbelievable stretch here. 4-12,
Oof.
my best bets in my paper column, and 7 straight losses. And last week I took the Lions, and they were red hot, and boom, they got crushed by the Panthers. So there's not a ton of games that I love this week, but one of them I like that you're gonna pick coming up next. I like that game, and one of my bonus picks I like. But I'm going with the team here. Has a lot to play for this week. I'm going with the Eagles -6. I think it is -6.5 at home.
5.5.
It's not the 5.5. Okay. I mean, I don't care who starts the quarterback, Gardner Minshew or Jalen Hurts. I think they're going to blow out the Saints at home. They win, they clinch the 1 seed, and they can rest next week against the Giants, and then they have another week off. So I think they take care of business at home. They're 6-1. The Eagles are 6-1 at home, straight up and against the spread. They've blown some teams out. They put up 30 or more points, I think, in 3 or 4 of the games, even 40 spot against the Packers. And after last week's loss, they should have won that game at Dallas. They blew it late in the game. And the Saints, to me, they're such a hard team to figure. I don't know how they beat the Browns last week in freezing temperature, but I guess the Browns thing too. But the Saints have been, after the Bucks, I think they've been the most frustrating team to pick all year because you never know what you're going to get. And you pick them, and they play poorly. You pick against them, they play well. So I just don't see this as being a good spot. And I read somewhere, multiple spots, that the Eagles have the Saints first round pick. So them, not that they need extra motivation, but if they win, that obviously increases that pick next year with another loss for the Saints. So that's kind of interesting. But I just think the Eagles are going to blow them out here, put up 30 plus, and win this game going away. So lock of the week curse ends this week.
I agree. I think the curse ends this week, and I'll get into a little bit more on that in a little bit here. But I'm going to go with the 49ers for my best bet. Yes, it ballooned up to 10 points, but I don't care. Jarrett Stidham starting against this defense, in my opinion, the best defense in football. I think it's going to be a disaster. The Raiders are obviously mailing it in here in the last couple of weeks, resting some of their veterans where it feels like changes are coming for them. Who knows if they run it back with McDaniels, but it seems like Carr could be on the way out. I think there's going to be some turnover there. And even with Brock Purdy starting, they've been still putting up a ton of points, 37 against the Commanders, 35 against Tampa Bay, 33 against Miami. Like they're almost scoring at will right now. Their calling card is the defense, but man, that offense is really, really good as well. And I love the story with Brock Purdy, Mr. Relevant. He's come in and really kept their season rolling. They've been, after starting 3-4, they are winning every week now. I don't think this one is close. I know going on the road sometimes that, with a big number that scares me a little bit. Not this week. I think they win by 17 points at least, something like that. I'm thinking, 30-10. Somewhere around that. I have no faith in Jarrett Stidham coming in and doing anything against this defense.
Yeah, I agree.
How about an underdog? What jumps out there?
All right, here's a team that I wasn't sure I was going to take this. It's kind of risky, but considering the situation, I think it's a good pick here. The Texans plus 4.5. The 2-win Texans at home against the Jaguars. So the Jaguars are red hot, as you know, Jets fan. But this game means basically nothing for them. If they win or lose, they need to win next week. I mean, they still have like a 1% chance to get the 7th seed, but it's not going to happen. So they need to. Same thing for the Titans on Thursday night. So the reason I took the Cowboys in that game minus 12.5, which is like an absurd point spread, is the Titans probably aren't going to play Derrick Henry. They're not going to play certain. Ryan Tannehill's already out, so they're going to rest players. So it all comes down to Week 18. So why would you risk Trevor Lawrence getting hurt or Travis Etienne or anyone? Why would you risk them getting hurt when you need to worry about next week to make the playoffs? Doug Peterson said he's going to play the starters, which is, I guess, ironic considering the whole thing with the Giants a couple of years ago, what he did with the Eagles. But I just don't see the Jaguars going all out in this game. And even if they were going all out, I think I still take the Texans because for whatever reason, the Texans own the Jaguars. They've won 9 straight against the Jaguars, including the Week 5 win this year, 13-6. And that was after the Jaguars had been playing well. They had crushed the Chargers, and then they laid an egg against the Texans 13-6. So Houston's beaten them 9 in a row and 28-13 all time against Jacksonville. So I don't know why they own them, but you got to look at that stat and give it some meaning. So, and Texans, as bad as they've been in the standings, they played well. They probably should have beaten Dallas a couple weeks ago. They lost by 4. They beat Tennessee last week on the road. So they're better than a 2-win team. I mean, obviously they're not good, but they're not like a awful 1-2 win team. So I think this will be a close game. Even if they lose, I think it'll be by 3 or 4. So 4.5 feels like a nice number. And Jacksonville just doesn't have to go all out. So, they might sit Trevor Lawrence in the second half. So why would I want to pick them laying 4.5 points? So I'll take the Jaguars. I'll take the Texans.
All right. For my underdog pick, I'm going to go with the Steelers plus 2.5. They started off insanely slow this year, started 2-6, but they played a lot better and now find themselves with a 7-8 record. They just played Baltimore a couple weeks ago, and they lost 16-14, but it was a tight game, and we're still not really sure who's going to be playing for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson hasn't really practiced. They've kind of been hush-hush about if he's going to be good to go or not this week, and if not, I really don't have too much faith in Huntley being able to get it done there. And they just seem to play, teams close. They're very, very well coached. I know both of us are really big fans of Mike Tomlin. He's never had a losing record, and that's still on the table somehow with this roster. He still has a chance at a winning record, which that would be pretty impressive if you ask me with this roster and the state of the team. But they are going on the road to Baltimore this week. I think they have a good chance to win it. And if not, I think it'll be a tight game. So I'll take the Steelers plus 2.5, and they'll win an ugly one, 17-14.
Yeah, I'm taking them too, and for the same reason I said last week, I'm not picking against them until he officially has his first losing season. So I think that even if they lose, I think it might be another 2-point game. Because the first game they lost 16-14, but Trubisky came in with 3 picks, so Pickett's playing this game. I like them too, and it's a Sunday night game, and there's a chance that they might not even be in the play. They might be eliminated from playoff contention if the Dolphins win. The Steelers, but still, I think it's the NFL's best rivalry, so it's still a good game.
Yep,
I agree. I think they'll find a way to win.
Absolutely. So let's get into the bonus round. Who's another team you like?
All right, so here's another team that's out of it, but I like this matchup. I don't know. I just feel like this team is going to be up for this game. It's the Los Angeles Rams. I think the spread is too high. They're getting 6.5, right?
Yep, 6.5. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, they're both home. It's a battle of SoFi Stadium. I wrote my column that it's the first game. It's the first game ever where all you're going to see is Rams and Chargers jersey in the stands. It's usually the visitors, dominate the Cowboys fans, the Steelers fans. But I like 6.5. I think it's way too many points. I think the Chargers play a ton of close games. They don't blow teams out. They have so many offensive weapons, and sometimes it's like, well, how does the team not score more points? Why do they not have 10, 11, 12 wins? But I like the idea that this is Sean McVay. I think he's going to be up for this game. The Chargers coach, Brandon Staley, was his former defensive coordinator in 2020. So I feel like that's an advantage for McVay. He knows his tendencies on defense. I just feel like the Rams, it's a lost season. There are tons of injuries, underachieved. Too many star players got hurt. But, last week they showed something. Christmas Day, 51 points. I think they want to end the season on a high note. 7-10 sounds a lot better than 4-13. So I think they'll be motivated to. I think they might even win this game. The Chargers already clinched the playoff berth. I think they're kind of like locked into the 6th seed here, and they should win. They're the better team, a healthier team. But I think the Rams will be up for this game. 6.5, way too many points. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, back and forth, and it being a battle of that stadium. So when the Jets and Giants play, they get up for that game. So I think there'll be a lot of interest in the Rams for this game. If they were playing another team where there's no allegiances or whatever, maybe they won't be up for it. Second to last week of the season. But I feel like there's a lot of motivation for a 5-10 team to win this game here. And with McVay and Brandon Staley having those ties, I think you'll see a really strong effort from the Rams here. So give me the Rams a bonus pick plus 6.5.
All right. And yeah, as you say with the Chargers all the time, they always play tight games. So I agree. 6.5 seems like too many points. For my bonus, I'm going to go back to the team that you picked as your best bet, the Eagles, minus 5.5. I don't understand at all what the Saints have done to have the spread at this number. 5.5 seems like too low a number here. I don't care if it's Gardner Minshew going or Jalen Hurts going. As you said earlier, I think they are going to steamroll New Orleans. The Eagles are the home team in this one. They somehow were able to play a dome team, able to play out in the elements in Cleveland and win 17-10. That made no sense. I think that was a little bit of a fluke here, and I just don't have any faith in that team at all. And they've been a very frustrating team to pick or pick against, but I just love the Eagles in this spot. I think they get it done and win in blowout fashion. I'll say 34-17.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's run through these again real quick. Giants and Colts, both of us are on the Giants -5.5. Jets, Seahawks, both on the Jets -1.5 here. Bills and Bengals in the game of the week. I like the Bills. Joe likes the Bengals. Best bet, Joe is on the Eagles -5.5. I like the Niners laying the 10 points. Underdog pick, I'm taking Steelers +2.5. Joe is taking the Texans +4.5. Bonus, I'm also going to take the Eagles -5.5. And Joe is going to go with the Rams +6.5 for his bonus pick. Joe, appreciate you joining me as always. Good luck, and we'll talk again real soon.
All right, Matt. Thank you.